March 24th. Roll call. All members and administrators are here. Attest to publication.
I saw it posted.
Thank you, Joni. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tina, seconded by Joni. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Shelley will read our district mission, vision, and values.
Bangor School District Mission, Vision, and Values Statement. Mission, Bangor Pride, a small school building big futures. Vision, an innovative small school creating excellence through personalized learning and relationships for all. Values, student-centered, safety, opportunities for all, small class sizes, fiscally sustainable, foster community, continuous improvement, professionalism. Board of Education collective commitments. As a excuse me. As a member of the Bangor School Board, I will be an active listener who is open-minded, respectful, and inquisitive. Together with one collective voice, we are committed to forward thinking while strategically prioritizing for our students, staff, and community now and into the future.
Thank you, Shelley. Public comment? Barring none. Minutes from February 12th.
Of the regular meeting held Wednesday, February 12th, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Joni, seconded by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Minutes from February 24th, special closed session meeting.
I was not in attendance, so I cannot approve.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 24th, 2025 special closed session meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Lisa, seconded by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Do I need to abstain?
We do not have a student report tonight, so we will go on to election reminders, April 1st. Get out and vote, referendum question, of course. And then Shelley Piskey will be on the referendum for the South, and Joni Wilcox for at-large. For both of them are for the Bangor School Board. Okay. Committee reports, PRC.
I just had a quick update on that. We've got the next sessions set. I'm meeting April 14th with the representative from Neola to work through the next set of updates, and we've got the PRC scheduled April 21st at 5:30, and we should have those ready for our May board meeting.
All right, next committee is Goals Committee. We just met. Tina's going to provide an overview.
We did just meet in regards to our goals. We went over kind of what everybody is thankful for, which has been what we've been saying before, our PLC process, the support that they've been given, our PD days. But then in addition to that, they have recently, since our last meeting, had examples of a report card through GMC. They had a representative from IXL come in, answer questions. And CISA has also been here in regards to adoption of the literacy process. We talked in regards to how they're working together, collaborating, kind of just having a spot so everybody has a voice and are heard, and that, you know, the growth and culture of the district is continuing in the right direction. Is everything that I took out of that meeting, unless anybody else has more they want to add?
I would just add this, what I had shared in there. You know, obviously we're replacing two guys down there that have been instrumental in making this PLC process work. But I think the process and the guiding coalitions and everything that they have put into place will allow our new administrators to step in and really have a smooth transition and an understanding of what the culture should be, and to continue that versus trying to start something brand new and have have, just being able to pick up where they left off. So these guys have set a great foundation for that transition and those next folks. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina. Financial documents.
Trying to think, there was one question regarding just some clarification on the vouchers for Cooley Connections and for Catholic Charities. And I think we were able to respond to those and get those answered. Those are, students that are involved in those programs. We're constantly reevaluating the need for those programs right now. There's some plans to make some transitions out of those programs for next year. And there's also some kiddos that we feel that's going to continue to be the right fit for. So always something we're looking at, and always good to have a discussion. So I'm glad that folks brought that up. If there are no further questions, we'd look for approval of the financials.
Move to approve the financials as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made by Joni, seconded by Shelley. Any further questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We will move on to the operational referendum information. Dr. Brockup.
There's going to be very little new to you folks here. We are a week and 1 day away from Election Day. Early in-person voting started today. So if you're listening and listen to this presentation and make a plan and get out and vote, we'd appreciate it. Wanted to just share this. We are going to record this little section of the meeting, put it on our website as well, let people know that if they missed our information session, they'll be able to tune into that. So I'm going to give more information than you guys probably need to know right now, but I'm going to cover this important information ahead of the referendum. We have sent the 2 mailers that have gone out. The community sessions at the school, we did cancel the first one because of the weather. Second one, we did have some folks in attendance, including a media representative. I expect an article in the paper tomorrow from the Monroe County Herald. Had a chance to kind of preview that. And I think the message there, clear, educate yourself and understand what you're voting for. So it was really nice to have him there along with some other folks. Kelly came as a board representative. We had some good conversations that night. And again, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. So at the end of the meeting, we had some really open dialogues, and I think the folks that came felt appreciated and informed after being there. We have gotten out to all the townships. We've visited with a number of the clubs, including the Lions Club that Rick and Mike went to last time. This last month when we rescheduled our meeting that Wednesday so I could get to Burns and to the town of Washington. Get out to the town of Bangor a week ago. Good conversations there, good questions, good discussion. Couple of the questions from that evening, I actually added slides to this presentation to address some of the kind of bigger looming budget questions right now. We'll continue to get some emails out this next week and a couple Facebook posts, and we should have done all we can do, and then we just need folks to show up and vote based on the best information that they have available to them. So I've shared this in a lot of the presentations and in these presentations I've done. I will share also, it's worth noting our high school, our senior social studies classes that all students have to take, all meet first hour during the day. A few weeks ago, League of Women Voters came in and registered some new voters, and then there was some discussion among them about the referendum, and they really didn't have all the information. So worked with Rick a little bit, and last Friday morning, I actually shared with the seniors this presentation as well. And my message at the start of the presentation, at the end of the presentation, was the same. Don't ever let anybody tell you how to vote. It's your responsibility to be fully informed and understand what you're voting on. So I gave this to them as well, and had some good conversations about this balance that we've talked about as a board multiple times, balancing what's really good for our schools and our community with what our taxpayers have the tolerance to pay for, and if that's out of balance, we're not doing our job properly. So we have a lot of efficiency conversations as a board, and those are the conversations that we had with that balance slide. This head count isn't something that you guys have seen. I do believe that 236 has grown a little bit since it was put on here about 3 weeks ago. We've had a couple of new families register just in the last couple of weeks, but that's what we're predicting for next year. So a slight downtick in that, really resulting mostly back to a class of 60 graduating and a class of 40 coming in. Give or take a little bit either way. There's going to be about a 20 student swing there. Open enrollments, ins and outs. This is not a new slide for you, but just going through this with our community, understanding what the trends have been over time. And there is misconception out there about, well, if we weren't educating all these open enrolled in kids, but when we share that difference between 139 and 117 is really the only difference we have, it makes people feel a little bit differently about that, just understanding just how many people leave the district. So 139 in, 117 out this year, and then showing the financial trends. So the fact that we've been on the positive side of that for the last 4 years, almost $200,000 to good over those 4 years, is again just information that I shared. And if it goes negative, that's obviously taking a bigger impact, and we may have to ask for even more to continue to operate. Maybe not, maybe. The cost impact of voucher schools is a new slide that came up after these conversations. So each year, you remember on the revenue limit worksheet, we have the line on there that is the amount that the state gives us. We have no idea it's coming until probably early October, and they give us this line, and this is what goes to private voucher schools in the state of Wisconsin. We don't know how many students this is. We don't know exactly what schools they go to. We don't know who they are, where they live, or anything like that. We just know that's the amount that's pulled out. What we do know is last year was $156,000 that showed up on our community's tax bills as Bangor School District that we never saw that went directly to private schools. So that trend obviously is going up. When there are conversations out there in the budget about a voucher in every backpack and those types of conversations, this is limited to financial need at this time. If they take off that cap and anyone can take this, you would see even more public ed dollars go to private schools. So just an important number, and a number that's worth having and understanding where that comes from. Special education transfer. So again, kind of conversations from our overall budget conversation as a state right now, and the factors that factor into us creating a balanced budget as a school district. The special ed transfers are the transfers that happen after our current 29% reimbursement. So all costs for special ed, we get reimbursed 29% on those special ed costs. And after that reimbursement, we have to transfer money from our general fund to Fund 27, which is our special ed fund. And you can see that amount over time has increased dramatically to about $1.2 million over the last couple years. Considering we're asking for a $900,000 referendum, that's a big portion, more than what we're asking for from there. The important part of this conversation, as you are hearing, and this is both pre-referendum and as we look at the state debate going on around the biennium budget, you are hearing conversations on both sides of the aisle right now, which is really good, about trying to find a way to get this amount increased because it's being recognized as a huge impact on schools, both sides. So it's something that we'll continue to push for. We want our folks to be able to really understand what that means to our district. Going to 50%, going to 40%, any change, in the increase would obviously be in the right direction. Going towards closer to 100% funding would be great. I think 100% funding is probably unrealistic at any point in time, but understanding what that is. At the federal level, things seem to change every single day at the federal level. This is a cut from a slide, cut from a document that DPI released for each school district in the state of Wisconsin. It just gives an idea of how many federal funds flow through to our school. So for the Bangor School District, $470,000, about 6% of our total funding, kind of gives you an idea of what that goes towards. So as there's conversations about what's going to happen to that federal funding, especially if the Department of Education is disbanded and goes away completely, that's the amount that we're talking about. Again, if we were to lose that and April 1st was voted no, it just compounds the challenges. So a lot of ifs and not sure what's going on there, but that's kind of what's at stake when they're having those federal conversations. Historical per pupil revenue limit, kind of setting the stage for why we ask. This was stable for a very long time and not increasing. With this not increasing, it's created an even greater need for operational referendums, with over 200 schools in the state of Wisconsin operating under operational referendums, just to keep the lights on and keep educating kids. This hasn't kept up with inflation. Even the $350 per year that's locked in for the 400 years, that doesn't keep up with our 2.9% inflation this year. So just to give you a perspective on that. That's the slide that you've seen more than once over a little bit longer time than that last slide. The difference between the per pupil increases for schools and the inflationary index, creating about that $2,300 per pupil deficit for our district. For perspective, that's almost $1.5 million that based on our current per pupil numbers, and we're asking for $900,000 of operational referendum. That $900,000 does not fill that gap, but it helps bridge that gap. It helps get us closer to that. The efficiency, the things that you guys work on here, that we work to be as efficient and effective as possible with the resources we have bridge the rest of that gap to get to that $1.5 million. The operational levy, the authority that's been approved over time via the operational referendums. Again, you guys have seen this many times. The reminder to our community that this is levy authority. We had $900,000 in levy authority in 2023, and we chose to under levy by $150,000 that year because this board has been committed to steady to declining mill rate, and it was more important that we hold true to that commitment to our community than it was to levy to the full authority. So whatever is approved for 3 years, if it's approved for 3 years, we still have the ability as a board to hold true to our commitment to a steady to declining mill rate. I've shared with folks the history of referendum in the district. Obviously, the November failed referendum and the feedback that we got from the recurring question had us come back and ask a different question, ask for a non-recurring question this time, and make sure that we're communicating even better on what that looks like. Other than that, the community has been supportive of our schools, and hopefully they'll continue to be supportive of our schools. On April 1st. We're not alone. Again, this is an interesting slide. 10% of the schools in the state of Wisconsin 100 schools in the state of Wisconsin operate at least 10% of their operational budget based on operational referendum. On our about roughly $11 million budget, we are still operating under 10%. So we're not in that 100 group yet. Again, I think that speaks to the financial responsibility that this board and administration historically over time has had, that we're not to that point, and we're not asking for an increase from the current $900,000 a year that we're asking for. We believe that we can continue to operate with that stable $900,000 per year. The historical mill rates, again, historical mill rates approved by the board in October. You can see over time that we have been on that steady to declining trend. Those are early projections, obviously, with the mill rate going down. There's a lot of factors that could play into that between now and October. But I guess at this time, I think it's important to remember at this time when we were looking at the capital referendum, we were able to drop that mill rate even more come October on how that actually went. So hopefully we can do that as well in this case as well. This is just a kind of a blow up of those next few years. It gives us the authority to move forward. Loss of $900,000 for our community would be substantial. For our schools would be substantial. We've talked about that list of maybe 10 to 11 positions throughout the district. That means larger class sizes, and that means the loss of opportunities for our kids. And we're proud of the quality of education that we provide for our kids, and we are optimistic that we'll be able to continue that moving forward. The question, as the board is well aware of, as you've approved this, now a 3-year non-recurring question. I was very open in my community sessions and in all those conversations. I said we did ask in November for a recurring solution to what is clearly a recurring problem that it has gone back in our district since 2007. We heard the feedback that the community was not comfortable with that, so we've changed. But there's a reason we did ask for that recurring question, and it's a very logical reason that we are asking for this for continued spending. We understand that our community would like us to ask that question every 3 years instead of just locking it in. So we had some good dialogue around that in those conversations, and fully understanding the difference between the two questions and why we need this. Important other distinction here was the fact that in November, when the referendum failed, it did not affect this school year because we were still operating under the current the operational referendum. If this fails in April, it will absolutely impact next year. Absolutely, we will look and feel very different as a school district. Again, I've talked a lot about this a number of times, but worth noting again, it provides us the authority. 2023, we were able to under levy to hold true to this board's commitment to a steady to declining mill rate, and we'll continue that in the future. Information is out there. There's a ton on the website. I'm recording this. We're recording this presentation tonight. These guys are gonna clip this section, gonna put it on our website. I'll put out a reminder that if you didn't get to one of those information sessions, you can hear the presentation there as well. So we encourage folks to get out, get informed, take some time and understand what the question means, and get out on April 1st and vote on the operational referendum. So, any questions for me? I know you've heard it, but I think it's one more opportunity for hopefully one or two more people in the community to hear and understand. And there are a couple updates there for you guys for the, the federal funding and just understanding those voucher school programs and the special ed transfer. This time of year, as they're talking biennium budget, those are important talking points and hopefully things that the state will advocate for. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brackup. Okay, and moving on, the 2025-2026 CISA 4 contract.
Yeah, I think the important thing about this contract, Julie, you're on the board over at CISA. This gives the CISA board the ability to budget for the year and plan accordingly for their staffing and their programming. So we don't pay any of this until we actually have the services and they bill us as we go. But this gives them an idea of what to plan for and what resources that the school district of Bangor looks to use for next year. So with that said, hopefully you've had a chance to look it over. It's very little change from next year or from last year. Looking for approval of the 25-26 CISA 4 master contract.
I'll make a motion to approve the CISA 4 contract for the 25-26 school year.
I'll second.
Motion made by Shelley, seconded by Tina. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. So 2024-2025 calendar change for Bangor. We will be hosting the sectional track meet. We're looking at May 30th. Dr. Brackett?
Yeah, I think, I mean, to us, this seems fairly logical, and hopefully the board agrees with this. We have, buses and buses and buses of folks show up that day. We've got a whole bunch of staff members that help work and make that event possible that really need some time in the afternoon to kind of get everything set to go. When we originally approved the calendar for this year, obviously we didn't know for sure that we were hosting that. This past year, when we hosted, it ended up being the last day of school, which was a half day, so it worked perfectly. As we looked at it this year, we kind of said, oh man, if we're in school all day, that is going to be a nightmare at the end of the day. So we were looking to change that, communicate that out to families as soon as possible so they know that that will be a half day. We will feed them lunch, unlike the last day of school. We will feed kids lunch, and basically once the lunch periods are over, we'll round everybody up and send them home that day. I know I put a note in the administrative content for you. We're okay on time for minutes. I think if we had another snow day, which hopefully we're getting past, but who knows? If we had another one, I think we may have to have a conversation about making that time up at the end of the year. But these minutes lost will not put us to that point. So if there's discussion, great. Otherwise, I'd be looking for approval of the calendar change for 24-25, basically just changing that May 30th to a half day for students.
I mean, we did it for how many years? I don't think, other than brand new families, there would be a shock to anyone. I mean, so I would move to approve this change.
I'll second.
Motion made by Joni, seconded by Lisa. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Can I ask one question, Julie? My was still an aye, but
Sure.
We have the fourth highlighted in yellow. Was there a reason, or it just happened to be highlighted in yellow? It doesn't change the last day at all, correct? That's okay. I don't think it changes the time on the last day. It was just highlighted on ours, so I just wanted to make sure.
It's just a half day. So the
Okay.
4th is the last half day, release at 11 and 11:05. The fact that it's yellow, it's just calling it out
Coincidence,
as
okay.
notice it. No, I apologize.
So the-
Kelly's feedback last year was go all the same color, and I know.
So
I did
you're
that.
saying the red is all full days off and the yellows are half days off?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
So our last day is the same. The only day that's changing is the 30th. Is this something we have to look at for next year's schedule? Do we know that date, or will we look at that ahead of time?
I think we could do it earlier in the year next year if we are selected to host sectional track again.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
would just look at it
I
earlier.
don't
We'd
think
know.
we want to proactively just call that a half day.
No, I'm just saying if
Yeah.
we put that on our calendar to be aware of it
Yep.
going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not quite so close to it. Yep, I agree.
Thank you. All right, moving on to, let's see here, make sure I didn't miss anything here. Personnel, hire of elementary principal.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, these guys are retiring, so we've had to be out and working on this. We started this process shortly after we started the middle school, high school process. It's been a while. It seems like we're moving from this, but obviously we haven't officially approved the hire. We went through a very similar process that we did at the middle school, high school. Included a lot of the teacher impact or what they were looking for in creating the question sets. Had a huge team of interviewers, brought in 5 candidates for the elementary principal position. Came out of that with 2 front runners. I spent some time with both of them. At the end of the day, Dave Luke has been in our community for a number of years and has really truly shown his investment into our community. The team was very excited to have him come in and lead. So I am excited excited to bring to you the hire of Dave Luke as our new elementary principal starting next year.
I'll make a motion to approve the hire of Dave Luke as elementary principal effective July 1, 2025.
I'll second.
Motion made by Shelley, seconded by Jessica. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Retirement of our reading specialist at the elementary school.
Yeah, so Diane Weiss is going to retire after 30 plus years of working in education. So when I got here 6 years ago, Diane was a second grade teacher, and then I think I pretty much all but begged her to become our reading specialist. Knowing her from when my boys went to school and that sort of thing, having somebody with her skill set in that role was really important. And I remember she was like in Europe or somewhere during that conversation, and I would get, like a random message at different times and that sort of thing. And then when she came back, I think we got a chance to chat for like a couple of minutes, and then she was off to another, global travel someplace. So it was really an interesting time. Certainly my job was exciting to get started and all of that. And then to have somebody with Diane's skill set and credentials and that support the work that I had to have, and I needed her support in the literacy world. And just an incredible professional educator. Diane has been doing this for a long time. Her leadership with through the reading process and the intervention process, and all through Act 10, she's been. Act 20. She's been. Even though she knew she was retiring, though, she's still just focused in on all of the things that help our school run efficiently and run well, and she's she's participating in all of those things. And I just want to say thank you to her for just helping so many kids. You guys haven't had the opportunity to see her do her magic, but it is something special to sit in her room and watch how she really works with the students, and just every word is precision. It just is something magical to see the craft that she's created over her career. And I thank her not only for, just what she's done for me and my support of me over my short tenure here, but just the number of kids that she's had a really big impact on. So congratulations to Diane.
Thank you, Mike.
That makes it even harder to accept this resignation, Mike. I will move to approve the retirement of Diane Weiss from her position of reading specialist effective at the end of the 2024-25 school year.
I'll second.
Motion by Joni, seconded by Lisa. Any questions for the discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Retirement of high school math teacher.
I'll take this one. Julie Thoyer. So she has been here. She got here before I even got here. She's been here 32 years, teaching our upper level math in our high school, which I learn something new every time I go in there and visit, or relearn, or whatever you want to call it. But and there's things that are just way over my head. I'm not too proud to admit that. But so she does our Algebra 2, our pre-calc, and then also our consumer math as well. Very professional, just like Mike said with Diane. Never ask for a day off. Have to send her home when she's sick, things like that. She's just very professional and wants to do a good job, and she's always here. So she'll be missed. That's a tough position to fill, for sure. We hopefully will be interviewing for that position next week is the plan, along with our middle school math teacher as well. So I just want to thank Julie for her time here. It's not easy teaching those upper level math because it gets very difficult. I mean, it really weeds. It's just tough, like I said. So I want to thank Julie, and I know she'll enjoy her retirement. She was on the fence, for quite a while there, and She talked to her husband. I talked to Steve, and I've known them for a long time. And their son was in my son's class. And I said, so you twisted her arm? He goes, I stayed out of it. So he said it was Julie's decision on that one. So I'm happy for her and that she's making that decision as well.
Thank you, Rick.
I'll make a motion to approve the retirement of high school math teacher Julie Thoyer at the end of the 24-25 school year.
Second.
Motion made by Shelley, second by Tina. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We will start now with administrative reports.
Sorry, I don't
Mr.
know what.
Chaplain, you're blank here.
I'm not sure if it didn't, whatever I didn't say, but so the only thing I have is that one of our elementary special ed teams, Tara Blount, Jordan Laufenberg, Brenda Brott, Sam Mason, Megan Bagnevsky, Lisa Waldenberger, and Kendra Mason and Aaron Donlin were nominated and were a finalist for the Wisconsin Division of Early Childhood Collaborative Team of the Year. They didn't win, but they were a finalist and nominated. So I just wanted to recognize them for all the work they do with one of our students. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chaplain. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Julie. So we've been looking at attendance as always, and it looks like we've taken a little bit of a step down this year. About 12% of our students have missed 10 or more school days for this school year. Last year was at the same time, the 120-day mark. 9% at this time last year. So we kind of started looking over the why behind those types of things, and it just this year, the trend seems to be more family vacations, which I never think is a bad thing. Honestly, I think that kids learn and their experiences outside of school are equally or more important, honestly, than, and the experiences they have with family. But that seems to be the trend. Really, you're talking, 8, 9 kids total in that difference. So to make up that 3%, but it's still concerning. And some of the kids that are involved weren't in our building last year. They're just new to our district and have other things happening that cause those types of things. So not necessarily going in a trend that we wanted to, but there is some reasoning behind it, and we continue to look at that and support the families and encourage them to come to us with and find solutions to their attendance. We had the annual title meeting on March 6th. We had one person show up for that meeting and had a really good discussion about it, which was great. But certainly that's something that we have to do each year, and just to discuss the importance of the title program. And then when, like Dr. Brockup said earlier, when you start getting into that federal funding conversation, title is, you might hear title in some of the news media lately, and that the importance of that. We have a really good program at the elementary school. Our two reading specialists / title teachers do an exceptional job of working with those interventions in school-wide settings. So it's always good to get that information out, and we've completed that. March is Make Music in Our Schools month. So Abby Sass has been, she did some puzzle things with the kids, some brainstorming ideas of what they like about music. She did a bracket to follow March Madness kind of thing. Now, it was awesome because the kids had select songs to put on the bracket, and I'm walking past, and one of the songs was Jump Around. And the first graders were blaring a little bit, and they're just like, bam, bam, and bouncing off the ground. It was pretty awesome. One of those moments where you just kind of, you're like, in all the stress and all the challenges that school brings to everybody, that was just one of those really fun moments. So I thank Abby for the work that she's doing for a young, brand new educator. She is just really setting the bar high. She's doing a great job. So happy she's here in Bangor. She's doing a nice job. Parent-teacher conferences, a little bit down in the spring, which is typical, 87% attendance rate. Still just a really great turnout and really awesome time to see parents all the time. That just kind of goes well. We had Miss Tauscher put together an art show. If you haven't been in the elementary school, it is pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff going on in terms of the art program. And then on the conference night, she put out all of the clay projects. So you guys bought her a kiln, and she went to town and started cooking dirt like crazy. So it's pretty cool, some of the stuff she came up with. So just thank you for that. It's just, she was telling me, I go, how much nicer is it having this access in your classroom? And she's like, I didn't break the things that she would wheel them over here, and then they would fall off, or bumps, and things were cracking and stuff. So just that, she's super thankful. And when you think about all of this stuff, when you put professionals in an environment that supports their skill set, let them work. Just let them work. There's no secret to this magic that happens every day in our buildings. Number 6 there, food pantry drive. So you might have heard that we're not getting as much food product from Wafer like we used to. That's since basically the first of the year, a lot of that resource has dried up. We have been getting a lot of donations from, whether it's families or different organizations, churches. Our community is so giving. So we've used some of that money to buy, whether it's just supplemental pieces or even fresh items like cheeses or breads or those types of things. So what we just worked with Steph Steiner, who runs our food pantry, and just came up with the items that we needed or use a lot of. And we had, I created a list for kindergarten, bring this, first grade, bring this, to conferences. And we just had a really good turnout of that. But then on top of that, Callum Roofing made a substantial donation in monetary form as well to support that program. So I really appreciate that. And then I just actually got a couple more drop-off items today. So parents are just like, hey, can we bring this anytime? I'm like, absolutely. So they come out of their way to turn that off. And I know that the high school is also doing a food drive now. You've seen the pictures around, and there's multiple community locations where things can be dropped off. So that's excellent. We will use all of that. And then I just added number 7 on there. It's not even on your printed form, but today Dr. Brockup and I received an email that Miss Sass received the 2025 recipient of the Early Career Educator Award at UWL. So talk about fresh off the press. That one just came in this afternoon, and she is an early educator. She's only been working here for like 6 weeks. So she's talking about being an early educator award winner. She fits the bill perfectly. So just really a great young educator. I look forward to, just willing. I just wanting to be in our community, wanting to help out in different places. It's really fun to see what she's already done, and how comfortable she has become, how welcome she has become within our building. And I look forward to all the things that she will continue to do moving forward.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Thank you. Mr. Mullenberg.
Thank you, Julie. A few things on my agenda. Cell phones, I just wanted to touch upon. I know the state legislature had ran some legislation through banning cell phones in classrooms. Hasn't gone through the Senate yet. I don't know if the governor would sign it, but just letting you know, we're already adhering to that. So that if that becomes law, won't change what we have to do. So it's more of an update just to let you know they're not allowed in classrooms right now. They put them in caddies in the high school, and then at the end of class they can get them back. They have them between classes and lunch period. Middle schoolers keep them in their lockers all day. So just mainly informational. If anybody was to ask you about the legislation, we're already adhering to that. Attendance, this is something that I told you I wanted to continue to report upon. I did go a little bit deeper this time on, and I gave you a copy of the reasons. I did take out things like suspensions and other things in there that are a little more sensitive data, but I wanted to share it with you so you could kind of see the reasons. And like Mike, we have some areas where we're doing a little bit better than last year, and some areas just a little bit worse. But I kind of wanted to give you an idea of just all of the different things that we deal with, everything from students having surgeries to family emergencies to needed at home so that whole list is on there, breakdown for you to look at from the last 2 years. And we're still sending out letters, still making phone calls, everything that we can to get students here. So a couple more things that Melanie and I are working on for this fourth quarter. I have 5 family meetings set up already to kind of talk through some things for next month, trying to see what we can do to try to improve for some of the students that we have that we gain traction, then we kind of lose that again, trying to work through some barriers there. So I want to put that in there for you. Next, we did have our ACT testing and our practice ACT by our sophomores. And I will say that since we have the freshmen the first day only, and we let them not be here on that day, and the seniors aren't here on that day, it's run really smooth with the tweaks we made over time. I know Hannah Schultz put a lot of work into organizing that. I want to thank her, and then all of our proctors as well, to try to create the best environment we can. We added a couple more proctors this year to get our class sizes down to about 11 in each room taking the test, trying to make it as quiet of an environment as we can. Chime in anytime. But anyway, it went well, as far as the setup and everything. We have makeup tomorrow. We had 2 students, one who was out of town and one who wasn't feeling well. They'll be making up their ACT tomorrow. We do currently have our forward testing going for middle school, high school, and pre-ACT at the high school as well. Be finishing up in the next couple of weeks. Parent-teacher conferences, we had 377 individual conferences at the middle high school. Last spring, we had 373, so we're right in the ballpark. The year before, I think we were at 383, so we're within 10 over the last 3 years. Spring is a little less attended. We're closer to 500 in the fall, or if not over. Middle school Battle of the Books. So they participated last week. There were 19 teams. We had 2 of the teams, and ours took first and third. So I really want to thank Lindsay Gunther, who's the advisor for that, and congratulate the students that took part in that. They met a lot during their lunch periods to talk about the Battle of the Books and all those things, and it paid off. And very proud of those kids. They brought home 2 trophies that day. So we had those displayed in the office, which was really cool. And then celebrating some more students, the artwork. I won't read the whole thing, but basically we had 3 students that I told you had their artwork at Madison East Town Mall. Well, we had one, Sandra Yang, or Stella Larson and Sandra Yang, for their flag that they did, received honorable mention. But then we also had Wendy Yang, who won the award for her division with the tessellating cat drawing. And I did put them in there, but I don't think they showed up on the JPEG, but I can always send those out. So it's the first time that 3 students from Bangor receive recognition at the state level for that art contest. So very proud of them and the work that Mrs. Olson puts in to help those students as well. We have some amazing artists up here. I watch them when they do that in their free time, and I watched all 3 of them that'll just draw things. And I'm like, wow, how do you do those things? So very proud of the kids that we have, and it's nice to see them get recognized for their work also. And I credit Mrs. Olson. She's done a lot with trying to get our art out there, displaying our student artwork, which I think is important at the local level and at the state level. So congratulations to all of them.
Any questions for Mr. Mullenberg? Thank you. Dr. Brackup?
Yeah, I'm going to go back on one thing just for a second. The 2 retirements, 62 years combined, leaving our school district, just amazing couple of ladies. The thing that resonated is these 2 are talking about them and just thinking about their roles as the way that they work with students that are having a struggle to get it figured out. Obviously, some of the title reading supports that we have in place and the support that Diane has had and involves for students is incredible, and so thankful for her expertise that she has brought to that position and the legacy that will continue in that department because of the work that she's done. I think for Julie, teaching the highest math, there's the perception that, oh, this is the highest flying kids. I think in many levels, and Rick and I have had this conversation, for some of our students, that may be the first time in their academic career where something's really hard. And it's always just come to them. And they get to Julie's class, and it's a high-level math class, and they have to figure out a new way to process because it doesn't just come to them. And Julie is excellent at spending the extra time being available to kids to really make sure that they're getting that high level math and learning from it. And I know Rick has heard a whole lot more than me over the years, but folks that come back and talk about I was ready for college math because of what Miss Thoyer did. So just a huge thank you to those folks. Out in my community visits, actually in December when I was starting to make some of those circles, one of the townships was talking about garbage and making sure every couple of years they bid out their garbage collection. I came back and Mike Stang and I talked about where we were on that process, and it was a good time. So he went and bid out the processes. We were ready to change garbage vendors, and I was ready to bring that to you. He told the company that we're currently working with that we're going to change, and they said, well, we'll match whatever their price was so we don't have to change. So we didn't have to change, and we saved money. So thank you to the town of Burns for turning me out of that conversation and to having us come back and have those conversations. But I wanted to share, again, it's not a huge money, but it's efforts made to try to make sure we're efficient all the time. So job fair at UWL, Rick and I are heading over to UWL on Friday afternoon. This is a job fair that's been pretty productive for us in the past, and we've got a little information sheet that we'll take about the district and just shake hands, talk to kids, talk to people coming out of their programs. What's been successful for us in the past is inviting them in for tours, even if we don't have positions posted, so they can see the school and we can get a chance to talk with them a little bit more. And we've been able to hire a couple of those folks in the past, so it's a good way to get some connections. So we're looking forward to doing that on Friday afternoon. Elementary special ed hire. We do have that person in place. The team over there did a great job, and that'll be on the agenda for the April meeting. But just wanted to let you know we are ready to move forward with that hire. Working with the sports boosters. The sports boosters had a meeting last night. This was going to be ahead of that meeting, but now it's after that meeting. Sports boosters have voted to approve $16,000 towards a new sound system for our football stadium and track area. John and I have been working on this. John's been doing a great job of getting a number of quotes. I got the quote from the vendor that we worked with all our sound system on during the referendum. We compared really about 4 or 5 different plans for how to get the best sound out there, with our goal of getting, obviously during a football game, the away crowd being able to hear what's being said. During a track meet, people being able to hear all the way over at the, the throwing areas and those types of things, being able to hear what's being announced as far as next calls and all those races. We obviously hold graduation out there, and we spend money renting the sound system. So if we can have one system that's in place that does all of that, that would be ideal. We had 3 sets of bids ranging from about $20,000 to about $40,000. And when we looked at it, John and I both really felt the bid that's at $20,000, $21,000 was the right one. I'm going to bring that to you next month for final approval, but the boosters have agreed to pay $16,000 of that. So it's about a $5,000 investment from the district that I'll bring, and we'll recognize the boosters officially next week or next month. It feels like next week already. It's not very far away. But that way, by doing that, we can actually get it ordered a few weeks earlier and get it here, test it out, make sure that it's fully functional before graduation, before sectional track, and all of those types of things. So very appreciative, as always, to the Booster Club and all of the work that they do. And that'll be a great addition to that area. Bangor community fundraiser events document I shared with you. This is something that Gary Altoff started putting together. It's attached in your packet. It's in the public side. So that is a document that all of the clubs and organizations are trying to put their primary fundraisers into. It's a Word document that's getting emailed back and forth around. So there's still probably ways to continue to get it a little bit more efficient, but I think it's a good place. And the conversation has been when there's major fundraisers going on, trying not to have competing days when possible, because we want all of the same community folks to get out and support all of our fundraising events. So just an effort being made there, and something that as a district we'll try to work with them on. There's a note here from Deb about the state OM competition that took place this last Saturday. My understanding is things went really well, and it was a long day. Lots of kind of figuring things out as they went throughout the day. But they're OMers. That's what they do. They problem solve and they get it figured out. I think they were really pleased with the facility, not having to cover quite as much ground as they'd have to at UW, or not at UW, at Madison Technical College. So I think something that could be used in the place. I believe there were 14 teams in all. 7 of them were Bangor teams, and that was kind of what came out of that. The only negative we heard is that some of the folks that were watching, because we had 2 performances going on in the gym with the divider in, they could kind of hear the laughter of the crowd from the other side, and sometimes there was a little distraction there. That was overall that was minimalized by the other positive comments that came out of the day. So kind of a neat activity there. Sophie wasn't here. Our spring sports are off and running. Track started 2 weeks ago. Has had a couple of meets already. Softball started last week and is off and running. Baseball started today and is off and running. We have had complications with the delivery of the batting cages at the activity center. That's an easy way of putting it. They were originally, we were thinking February. It got pushed to March. They were here March 10th to install. The nets weren't right. They had to take the nets back to the factory to get them resized and put them back in. They were supposed to be back last Thursday, so because they were coming back so quickly, we didn't put up the temporary nets again. Had we known they would get delayed longer, we probably should have done that. We didn't. They will be here tomorrow morning at 7:30. I've got multiple confirmations throughout the day that they are on the truck and will be here pulling in at 7:30 in the morning to finish that. So the athletes should have those for practices the rest of the week. And the musical crew is going to work around them during practice time so that they can be in that addition area while all the rehearsals and everything are going on. It is the spring musical, so we've never done it, or maybe never, not never, but the time I've been here, we've not done a spring musical. That musical got moved because the whole timeline at the construction at the activity center got moved to the spring. That is ready to roll Friday night, Saturday night at 7 o'clock and 2 o'clock on Sunday. So I would encourage folks to get out and see that. The kids have really put in a tremendous amount of work. And it's exciting to see it come together, and the pit band is awesome. They sound amazing. The sound system in there, it's such a different feel than when we sat in here a little over a year ago and watched the performance. So really looking forward to seeing it on Saturday or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. And I'm just going to reiterate, last but not least, I had it on my list too, but Mike got it on that first. Congratulations to Abby on that early educator award. She is doing an outstanding job over there. Paul likewise is doing an outstanding job up here. So it was a good transition for us over in an unfortunate timing, but a great transition for the district. So I think that's it.
Any questions for Dr. Braca? Thank you. Removal of items from the consent agenda. On our consent agenda, we have a list of current openings. Overnight field trip for the 7th grade trip to Poinette, and that's on page 24 in your packet. A note from Michelle Harper. Overnight field trip request for the FCCLA State Leadership Conference from Ms. Hooker. That's on page 25. And then the course approvals, those are on page 27 from UWL and Western Technical College.
If there are no questions, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Excuse me. Motion made by Tina, seconded by Kelly. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I think that's it. I'll ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Kelly? No, Joni. Motion made by Joni, seconded by Shelley. For adjournment, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.